How to set up a practice routine for bass or any instrument. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up a practice routine that is achievable and effective. By planning out your routine, you will reach your goals much quicker and you will stay more consistent with your practice. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to give you some tips on how you can stick to your routine. So going into 2021, I'm going to set up a practice routine for myself. So I'm going to take you through how I'm going to do it. So grab a pen and paper and you can follow along. Okay, first of all, you want to draw some lines on your paper. So roughly copy how I've done them here. Over the first column, you want topic. Over the second column, you want time. Over the third column, you want detail. And then finally, on the fourth column, goal. Okay, so the first row down, that's going to be your repertoire. So under topic, write repertoire. In the second row down, write fretboard knowledge. I'm going to leave the third one blank for now. At the bottom of the page, I want you to write down daily practice time. So now I want you to think about how long you can dedicate to practice each day. So try and make this a realistic time. So what is the minimum amount you can afford to dedicate each day? I'm going to go with 60 minutes. In the past I've done more, but with everything else I've got going on, this is the maximum I can dedicate each day. Don't feel pressured to practice for 8 hours a day, like some people will suggest. If you can naturally practice for 8 hours a day, continue to do that. However, it's not necessary to advance at bass. And there is an argument to say that the brain can only absorb so much new knowledge and information per day. I think the absolute maximum would be about 3 hours, I'd suggest, and the absolute minimum would probably be about half an hour, maybe 20 minutes. So under repertoire, you're going to dedicate 50% of your time to this. So for me, that'll be 30 minutes. Under fretboard knowledge, dedicate 25% of your time to this, that's 15 minutes. And then the final topic would be the remaining 25%, that's another 15 minutes for me. So in the next column, you're going to write down exactly what you're going to practice for each topic. So I'd advise picking about 3 songs to work on for repertoire. Here I've gone with Got a Match by Chick Corea, just the intro. Darling Dear by Jackson 5. Carry On My Wayward Son by Kansas. These are all quite challenging songs, but not too far beyond my current skill level. Okay, for fretboard knowledge, this is where you're going to be practicing things like scales, arpeggios, and chords. If you're not sure what to practice here, here's a list of scales and arpeggios. If you're intermediate or advanced, you may want to look at some more interesting ways of practicing them, such as playing on one string, playing over 2 octaves, playing using different sequences, so what I've gone for here is an exercise called bouncing arpeggios, and I'm going to be playing these over the chord progression from the jazz standard All the Things You Are. This is an exercise that I was taught by Scott Devine many years ago. I never felt like I got the most out of this exercise, so I'm going to try revisiting it. Okay, so the final topic, this is where you can pick anything you want. So here is a list of topics that you may want to consider. So choose a topic that is relevant to your goals. So if you want to be a session musician, something like sight reading would come in very handy, and that's what I've chosen to do. If you want to be the next Davey 504, then slap bass might be a good idea. So I'm going to split this time into 2. I'm going to have 5 minutes of sight reading exercises from a book. I'm going to spend 10 minutes playing along with music scores. Okay, so we want to set a goal for each of these topics. So for the first one, and this is a good goal for anyone, to be able to play each of these songs to a presentation standard. So whether that's at a gig or a YouTube video or an Instagram video, making a video of yourself, even if it's just on your phone for you to look at, is a good way of checking your progress. Okay, for fretboard knowledge, I have picked to play continuously over the first 8 bars, and the ability to play each scale or arpeggio without thinking about it. And for the last one, I've put measure all the mistakes that I make on my first pass and then aim to reduce. And finally, I just want you to put at the bottom here your scheduled practice time. If you can schedule a time each day that's going to help you create a habit, kind of like the way that you always brush your teeth before bed. So I've scheduled mine in the morning. I find that's when I'm most motivated. Some people prefer to do it just before bed or when you get home from work or school. Number 1, practice within the zone of proximal development. So this graph shows the zone of proximal development. Anything you practice below the middle section is something that is either too easy or something that you know already. Anything above that middle section is beyond your reach and is too difficult to practice at this time. You want to find something that is both challenging and achievable, and that is called the zone of proximal development. Number 2, get a tutor. Having lessons with a tutor will give you a reason to complete your daily practice. As well as there being a financial incentive, you will also have somebody to hold you accountable, and they will also be able to help you refine the practice routine that you have created today. Number 3, use the 2-minute rule. If you're feeling unmotivated one day, try and practice for only 2 minutes. So practicing for 2 minutes is not going to get you very far if you do that on a daily basis. But on days like that, what you'll find is the hardest thing is actually starting. Once you start, you'll most likely follow the practice routine all the way through. So it's kind of a mental trick. It doesn't seem like such a mountain to climb if you only have to do 2 minutes of practice. Okay, I hope you found that helpful. If you did, please check out one of these videos next.